What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here, thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we are on the test server here today, so thank you Player for allowing us access to it. And we will be testing out one of the rebalance champions, King Garog. So he had basically a full kit update. We'll go over his kit in various areas, and we'll see how he performs after the changes to him. So let's jump right into it. Alright guys, just quickly going over his kit and the changes that happened to King Garog. So basically his A1 gets a little bit higher chance for stunning. It's not a big deal at all because you're not going to build King Garog with accuracy. The stun debuff is the only debuff in his whole kit that required accuracy, so you definitely don't need to build him with accuracy. However, a stun chance on his A1 is very useful. The chances of it did go up from 35 to 50%, and then from 75 up from 50%. His damage multiplier also got increased on his A1, which is, obviously very good. Previously, his damage multiplier was kind of on the average side, according to Hell Hades' website here. So we're going to bring up Hell Hades' website. It's 1.6x, so times 2, so 3.2x attack multiplier on his A1. That is about average, nothing too crazy there, but it did get a boost, so it's going to be higher than 3.2 total multiplier. His A2 hack to bits has been updated as well. Going for straight damage upgrade here. Each hit now ignores 20% of the target's defense, which is a nice straight boost, as well as a damage multiplier boost. His A2 actually has a very decent multiplier for a quad hitter at 1.4x attack per hit. So that was previously, and now it's going to be increased. So it's going to be hitting even harder now with a quad hit. I wouldn't be surprised if it was maybe buffed to like 1.6 or 1.7x, which puts them at about 7x multiplier attack for a single hitter. I think that's pretty strong. Yeah, and of course the ignore 20% defense is going to be very, very nice. All right, so going into his A3, the Gore Maker here is an AoE attack all enemies, ignore 20% of each target's defense. That is unchanged. What is changed now is that the defense ignore increase of 5% is now based on how much buffs are on King Garog. No longer dependent on the enemies having buffs. It's now dependent on King Garog. This is a good update because now you can control how much damage boost you'll be expecting to get by applying buffs to King Garog. There's also a damage multiplier increase as well. Previously, this was a 3.7x attack multiplier, which is a bit on the low side, but you have to factor in the ignore defense as well as the boosted ignore defense for each buff on this champion. So it's actually very, very strong, and that's getting a bump up. And the cooldown reduction goes from 6 to 5 pre-books. So this is actually a very nice A1, A2, A3 damage upgrade, damage boost, cooldown reduction. Also makes him a little bit easier to use with the buff on King Garog as opposed to the enemy buffs. Very, very solid boost for King Garog. I would not be surprised if this makes him significantly better. It's just simple changes, but these changes should make him into a significant damage dealer, I think. He was already buffed previously, by the way. So previously he was kind of buffed just to do more damage, and now he's buffed again to do even more damage. His passive didn't really get changed that much. He gets increased speed, increased crit damage for each enemy he kills in a round. His passive got reworked so that it doesn't reset. Those damage boosts, those stat boosts don't get reset when he dies. So if you're fighting in a long fight, if he dies, he'll come back with a damage boost, which is pretty nice. However, this is kind of like something that you kind of use in arena, maybe longer arena fights, maybe longer dungeon waves. It doesn't work in like Hydra or bosses or anything like that. But it's a small change that might improve the quality of life on his usage. Anyways, excited to try him out. I'll show you guys what my King Garog looks like, and we'll test him out. Alright guys, so this is my King Garog. I literally put the best gear on him possible, and I think this is probably the best build you could probably put on him outside of 9-piece Merciless set. I have a 6-piece Merciless set on him, and I basically just cranked him out in terms of stats. Player did give us a 5-star soul to test, so he can keep up with like basically other arena defenses, for example. And yeah, he is built to crank. I'll show you guys the total stats here. 9.4k attack, 2.7k defense, 221 speed. He's got 362 crit damage, and he's got 225 accuracy, just randomly from faction guardians, blessings, affinity bonus. You can see here I basically only have 40 accuracy from gear, and the rest just comes from passive stats. On my account, my faction guardians for orcs is actually full, so that definitely helps with the 10 speed here, obviously, and a little bit of extra attack. The big blessing definitely helps. Makes a big difference. So I like Merciless here because it allows him to come back to his bigger damage dealing abilities a bit quicker. Merciless at Ultra just gives a ton of stats for attack based damage dealers. You also get the 35% ignore defense stat as well. And yeah, here we go with the skills here. Unfortunately, he costs 14 books, and I think he needs all the books. He needs the cooldowns. It's a shame that each book only gives him 5%, so the book value on him is pretty low. Ideally, these would have been like 10%, and then you would have been able to save, 2 books, 4 books, 4 books, and 2 more here. So, ideally we could have saved like 8 books. No, sorry, it would have saved 6 books if they just condensed these 5% into 10%. That would have been nice. But yeah, 14 book damage deal, that's kind of a big negative against King Garog here, but it is what it is. I got Heaven Cast on him because, obviously he scales up based on the amount of buffs on him. It makes sense to add Heaven Cast since Heaven Cast is basically exactly what his A3 scales off of as well. So for each buff on him, he's going to get some additional damage. You're already going to be putting buffs on him because of his A3, so it makes sense, right? Masteries here, this is what I got. I took extra attack because I was already crit capped out. So otherwise you would take the extra 5% crit damage, of course. Go down to Helm Smasher. Everything else is kind of like preference. I went for the Shield Breaker here, first hit, and then Opportunist. Maybe, you can hit against stun champions, which actually happens once in a while. For the defense tree, I went for 8% damage reduction against crits. Heal on kill. That's kind of like a nothing. And then double counterattack. I think it's kind of, you might be able to get some value from King Garog because his A1 actually hits pretty hard and has a chance to stun, so you pretty good A1 there. So I went for these two instead of going for the methodical A1 boosting here. Of course, you can go for that as well. So those are the masteries I have on him. Mostly will be an arena damage dealer. That's what these masteries are built to do, built to deal with. So let's jump into some arena fights and see how he performs. Alright guys, this is a very generic team for my account. I usually run Georgid in this spot, so I go Arbiter boost with the increased attack, lock out the other team, and then Georgid basically can cut through Stone Skin. That's why I use Georgid, because he can cut through Stone Skin and then AoE on his extra turn. So I straight up replaced Georgid with King Garog here. King Garog will benefit from Necrit self-buffing him already. What could work on King Garog actually is if you have a Blood Shield accessory ring. So if you had a Blood Shield accessory ring, his attack actually would boost, would add an extra buff to him, which would boost his A3. So for example, you could add like a ring like this. Why not try like a ring like this? And then give him an extra buff. Unfortunately, it didn't roll very good. Is that better than a ring like this? Quad attack, Feral Ring with the Max Glyph. I don't know. I don't think it's better because you just get 1 extra buff and you're losing, I don't know, like 30% attack percentage. So I'm just going to keep that big ring on King Garog here instead of going for Blood Shield. But Blood Shield is a kind of a easy way just to add 1 extra buff to King Garog for his A3 smack. So let's see what we can do here against Deadwood Jedi's team. If we go first, then that'll be good. All right, so let's jump into this. So we're going to go boost here. Yep, the standard, lock them out. All right, we actually end up going first. It's a little bit surprising. Boost again. All right. Good. Let's go with the ally attack. So Necro's going to ally attack to somebody. Let's see if our A1 can kill. Let's see if we can kill the Sifi. Oh baby, 44k 70, 44k A1, and then 74k after that. Let's see if what the AOE can do. So the AOE here Ignore 20% of the target defense. Ignore 5% further for each defense for each buff on this champion. We have 2, 4, 6 buffs on King Garog. Let's slow it down for the cameras. And boom, 300k on Kymar there. Oh baby, oh baby. All right, let's try again. Wow, King Garog, 300k on that Kymar. Let's try again. Let's see what we can do against. Sure, let's try Cold Brew. Let's try Cold Brew's team. Same team. See what we can do here. I think he should go first. Okay, I go first. Okay. Take it. Locked out. Okay, so we can test the A2 here. Quad hit. Can we kill this Rotos? Don't think we can. Actually, we should. Actually, let's try Killer Rotos. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Quad hit, baby. Quad hit. That's through shields and everything, too. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my lord. Let's get another buff. No, no more buffs. Okay. Let's... Okay, let's see what we can do against the shields here. 2, 4, 6. 6 buffs and... Oh, my goodness. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, Garog. Okay, it's the Grog show right now. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's a little bit surprising. I mean, it is a little bit surprising. I mean, I have my best attack merciless gear on him, but it is a little bit surprising to see King Garog do this. Let's keep going. All right, let's move on. Let's try another team here. I don't know if I can beat this +4 horse. The 6-star Reaper seems pretty wild. Yeah, I don't want to play against Lockout. Lockout here. Locking them out won't do anything. Let's try this team. Okay, let's try this team. This team's against the new Arnorn champion, which is really, really cool. But yeah, let's try this. So YST, what's he got here? He's got Arnorn just kind of by himself, chilling out. Gotta be careful because he's gonna be able to slam. Sucks, can't really break through his stuff. Just chill out for a sec here. Okay. Okay, now she's not protected anymore. I guess. A1? Man, that's wild, man. That is pretty nuts. That A2. That A2 is so strong. Just like chop, 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 chop. Alright. Well, I mean, the Harima is not... Whoa, what the... Yo, what the heck? This guy is nuts. He just like one-shot the Garog through the ally protection. I think he does have ignore ally protection. I feel like he might have it. Oh man, this guy's nuts. Nice. Look, wow, look at that. This guy is nuts. Arnor, he's nuts. That was really hard to deal with, actually. That's pretty nuts. Okay, cool. That's a cool little fight there we got going on. Let's see what else. Don't really want to play against Locked Out, so here, let's play against MTG here. Same team. And okay, so he transforms. Okay, lock them out. Okay, attack form. Okay, sheet. All sorts of stuff happening. All right, here we go. One shot. Oh, that would have just blew up the whole team, actually. Let's try that again. Oh, that was nasty. I mean, granted, this team's not like super tanky or anything, but let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. Goes to stun, transform, and then stun. We can lock them out. Okay. Transform into attack mode, and then attacks. Okay. And here we go. Whoa! Yeah, he hits. He hits good. He hits good. I like this. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. He hits pretty good. He hits pretty good. I like it. That's just his A3, right? His A2 actually hits quite well as well. So here's A3 again. Boom. Just deleted. Even through the stone skin as well. And then, wow. Wow. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. I mean, he has he's decked out. I'm not gonna lie, he's decked out. He's got, 5-star blessing. He's got really good gear on, so he's ready to go. All right. Okay, let's fight this. Let's fight this team. I don't know if I'm gonna go first. I probably would go first here, but yeah, the +4 horse is super scary. Let's see how we do here. Okay, we go first. That's good. Okay, locked out. Duchess is not locked out. Let's see how the AoE does. Okay, broke the stone skin. That's pretty sweet. But transformed. Buff here. Arbiter. Okay. Fully buffed up. Let's see if we can one-shot this Duchess. That'd be kind of nice. A2 Duchess? Not quite. We got 2 weak hits there. Each one of the hits were 25, 30k. So you can kind of see like she's just about half. We probably could have been pretty close to killing her, I think, with the A2. If it didn't weak hit. I would think that A2 is pretty reasonable. Let's try the, ally attack here against the Ancora. And deleted 50 something K each hit. I think this time he had the plus attack, maybe? Maybe? And A1, so we can A1 him to death, 37k each. Just really setting up for the AoE again. Okay. And AoE, everyone just drops almost 300k again on the dwarf on the side here. Attack. And ally attack in with the plus attack. 3 weak hits. A2. 3 weak hits again, but still got the job done. Definitely a very, very strong damage dealer here. Really good pair with Necrit. Although, Necrit's not used too much in defense nowadays, it's still a pretty good offensive option. Let's take a quick look at him in Hydra. I did run him through a couple of runs against one of the better, non-void, non-mythical damage dealers, and that's Thor. So we'll see how he compares against Thor. All right, so this is the team I have him in. I'm just going to use the same kind of shell. We're just going to sub out the damage dealers here. So in this test, we're going to run King Garog versus Thor. King Garog definitely doesn't have as good a kit as, for example, Thor, in terms of just like dealing crazy amounts of damage. And especially against Hydras, it's pretty obvious. But King Garog does have, ignore defense, which is applicable to bosses and stuff. So why not test him against Hydra and see how well he does? I fully expect him not to do as well as Thor in this test, but we will see. I'm using him, like I said, in probably the best attack-based Merciless gear I have. Thor is in also equally very good Merciless set, but a little bit less. They both have 5-star blessings, so it's a relatively better comparison. Thor does have Nature's Wrath, which I think is probably better than Heaven Cast here that Garog has, so that will attribute for a little bit of the damage difference. But let's have a quick look here at how they perform. Okay, so we're going to run it here. Show you guys how it goes here. So Garog's not going to be like 10 capped on buffs, but he's going to get a pretty decent amount of buffs here from the team. Wixwell provides buffs. You have Podrick here providing some buffs as well with the continuous heals. Increased speed here from the Ostrid. And plus attack from the Ostrid as well. So definitely getting some buffs here. Let's see how well they smack. Thor's going to smack quite a bit. You see Thor there, 800k on the left-hand head. Garog, no slouch, just under 300k on his AoE hits as well. But yeah, we're looking at about maybe half of Thor's AoE damage. But Garog does ramp up his damage quite a bit. So let's see if he can make up for some of that. You can see Thor here just demolishing, and then he has his passive AoE attack. Well, Garog coming in here with the A2 and just annihilates that head. Probably 1.2 million damage on his A2. Garog coming in there with some big hacks with his A1. His A1 seems slightly stronger than Thor's on that ally attack. Thor was doing about 80, and then Garog was doing about 180. But yeah, Thor's AoE is just insane. I mean, yeah, Thor's A1 is pretty insane though. Anyways, this is going to be going to set the benchmark for both of them. Garog there with the 1.1 mil AoE hit. No defense down, only weaken. Even Wixwell chipping in the big damage here. How well they do. Comes Thor again with the A2. The A2 hits harder, 650 against the tanky head. Then Garog with the A1, doing about 125 each against the tanky head there. AoE about 200. Yeah, so Garog's A1 outdamages Thor's A3 against the tanky head. But Thor's A3 is his weaker hit for sure. It's probably his weakest hit because his A1 hits hard and his A2 hits super hard as well. Garog back with the A2. Let's see how well it does. Yeah, big damage there. About 1.6 mil. 1.6 mil single target A2 versus Thor's like A3, which does about 200, 250. Yeah, so his straight A2 single hit is pretty good. Good damage. But Thor's A1 right there doing about 500k. Pretty good stuff. We'll go to the finals here and see how the point breakdown goes. So here's the final point breakdown. I didn't run it the whole way because this would probably run quite a while. But we see here we got Thor with 36 million, about half of the total damage here, and King Garog coming in with just under 20 million, which, I mean, it's not bad. It's about 30% of what Thor puts out. Actually, sorry, it's about, sorry, that's not the right number. Not 30%. It's better than half. Yeah, 55% maybe, 55% of what Thor puts out. So we can use that as kind of like a baseline on comparing them with other champions. I do have other comparisons here. We're going to do a quick snapshot here with Varl and how he compares to Thor, and then we'll break that down as well. All right, so in this damage test, we basically subbed out King Garog with Varl here. I basically put King Garog's gear directly on Varl. Since Varl is an orc himself, he basically can use the same gear that King Garog has. And yeah, we'll compare Varl versus King Garog. So let's go. In this case, you don't really need Varl's, weaken because we do have the Ostrid's weaken as well. So he's not dependent on for his weaken, which is one of the big, positives about Varl. He's just here just for strict damage. Like his A1 hits really hard. His A1 hits super hard. His A3 hits super hard. His AoE hits super hard. For a free damage dealer, like he's literally free from Doom Tower, Varl hits really, really good for against Hydra. And he should be, highly used in a lot of places for a lot of people. But yeah, so we're just basically going to compare the benchmark test that we had with King Garog versus Varl here. I'm going to quickly go to the end here. He performs really well. Yeah. And he still gets plus attack. He's, you know, the same kind of thing as King Garog. King Garog is force affinity versus spirit affinity for Varl, and I don't know if it's going to make a big difference here for this rotation that we have on the test server. I think there's actually quite a bit of force head, so maybe Varl has a slight advantage, but it's not going to be too significant. Let's go to the end here and we'll look at the final damage numbers. So here I ran it for about the same amount of time, about 7.5, 8 minutes. We see here Thor 27 million damage, and we see Varl here with about 16 million. This works out to about 59%. So Varl's doing about 59% damage, Thor's damage. Varl does have Nature's Wrath, but he's only at a 4-star blessing, so he's going to lose a little bit of damage there as well compared to like King Garog, for example, or Thor. And just a quick refresher here for King Garog versus Thor in his run, 19 over 36, so about 51, 52%. So Varl still has a pretty, you know, little bit of an edge over King Garog here, even though Varl had one less blessing, for example. Arguable that he has the better blessing, Nature's Wrath versus Heaven Cast. But the damage difference, you know, within single-digit point difference, you could attribute that to just like RNG as well. So King Garog doing similar damage to Varl is actually pretty impressive in my mind, considering that you don't really think of King Garog as anything more than just damage dealer. But also keep in mind that Varl does have weaken, so if you have a team that doesn't have weaken, then Varl's going to be better, of course. But King Garog definitely can hold his own in terms of overall damage against those champions. So against, you know, Thor, he's going to be a dog, but against Varl, he's actually not too bad. So you can definitely use King Garog here as a damage dealer for Hydra, which is really, really good to see. Maybe even for affinity rotations, King Garog can sub in. Maybe if you see a lot of magic heads, for example, then King Garog might be better than Varl. And lastly, I'll show you guys the Thor that I was using for the damage test. So this is the Thor that I was using. I did have the Merciless set on, as well as plus 5% from a Cruel set. So he actually has more ignore defense than the King Garog that I have. I mean, he's no slouch, right? Similar speed, 20 less crit damage, and, you know, about 2k less defense, less attack, sorry. So you're giving up about 2k attack for extra 5% ignore defense. I mentioned that King Garog has my best Merciless attack gear, so he has the best, and for this test, Thor has the second best. So obviously, it's not going to be a perfect direct comparison when they're in the same run, but it kind of just showcases like relative, right? So I wanted to showcase like a relative comparable, which is Varl, and Varl performed single-digit percentage better than King Garog, which is again surprising considering that, you know, Varl is actually one of the, you know, highly regarded damage dealers for Hydra. So it's good to see. It's really good to see. Hopefully you guys give him a second look, and yeah, check him out. I mean, the arena showcase was pretty strong, pretty favorable, and yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. So anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for showcase. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We definitely ran through quite a bit here. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you have King Garog? Are you guys excited to pull him out and try him out? Yeah, let me know. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.